Hello everyone, I'm Trey Rich and you are watching The Buzz. On today's show, Madison talks to the cast of Queer as Folk, and then we talk to Gina Naomi Baez, who stops by the studio, and then in our artist spotlight we have all the way from the UK, Gareth Dunlop, and finally we caught up with JoJo Siwa backstage at So You Think You Can Dance. We out here, y'all, so let's roll that intro.
Hey, what's up, y'all? This is Twitch. Let's get buzzed. Bah.
Before we get started, Father's Day has come and gone, and nothing says Father of the Year better than Kanye West, who was recently spotted out at his daughter North's basketball game this past Friday with his baby mama Kim, who was also in attendance. The parents weren't that far apart from one another. Eyewitnesses say the two spoke from time to time throughout the evening and appeared to be cordial. Neither parent made a big scene by cheering, maybe just trying to lay low and watch their child play. Happy Father's Day to all the dads who show up when it counts. Faja? Faja? Faja, can you hear me? Faja? Anyway. First up, we got the cast of Queer as Folk. Madison talks to them about how their season addresses a lot of things that have affected the LGBTQIA+ community. Let's take a look.
Haven't seen you around. You a tourist?
Nah, I've been in Baltimore for med school. Well, actually, I dropped out.
Hot, smart, and afraid of commitment. Every gay man's type.
Honey, what are you doing here?
I lost my keys.
Wow, you love a dramatic entrance.
Dad is home!
Hi, girl. How are you feeling?
I'm kind of nervous. I've never performed on like a real stage before. I really want this.
And look at it.
Thank you, Mom.
Hey, the best way to get over someone is by getting under someone else.
You don't remember what happened?
Since that night, this entire part of myself that made me feel okay is gone.
We cannot do this without you, Ruthie.
Would you want to like hang out?
We were meant to grow old. Now these feelings take hold. Are we ever gonna be okay again?
All of us survivors struggle every G-damn day.
If one more person calls me brave,
Hey.
I'm gonna kick them full on it.
Actually, not survivors.
Hey, stop.
Thrivers.
Thank you guys so much. What a mood booster today.
Oh my God, are you kidding?
You came on lights.
Happy smiles, but my first question actually is a little more on the more serious note because I was so struck and heartbroken after the very first episode in a show all about empowering the LGBTQ community. Why do you think Stephen Dunn wanted to revisit the events that transpired at Pulse nightclub?
I think it's important that we talk about the things that we go through as a community. And it feels really poignant in this time, specifically with all the anti-LGBTQ plus legislation that's going on, all the gun violence that we still continue to see day in and day out. I think it's really important to honor the truth of the matter, and which is that we do experience these things, not only as a community, but as a nation. And that also we have to look at the part that comes after the tragedy, which is the camaraderie, the love, the rebuilding, and as Devin was saying earlier, like New Orleans is such a place of rebuilding itself. And I think to tell this story truthfully, that needed to be a part of it. And I'm really glad that we work with creators that are sensitive to that specific time and allow us to move through it.
Yeah, I mean, Queer as Folk was my coming of age. It was my first exposure to like a queer community. I used to watch it in my basement with the volume turned down low because I was terrified someone would catch me watching it. It was the show that you like wanted to so desperately to watch, but didn't feel like you could really back then. And, it's been really important to me as a filmmaker to tell queer storytelling, to tell queer stories authentically. And the word queer itself now means, I think, something different than it did back then. And I really wanted to explore on television what it means to be queer and empowered in 2022.
I mean, an unfortunate reality of being a queer person in 2022 is trauma is very much a part of our lived reality. But what I think is beautiful about what Steven did with the show is this isn't a show about a tragedy. It's a show about a community rebuilding after one. And it really is about this group of friends finding each other and safety within their community again, and finding out who they are after this tragedy.
Honey, what are you doing here?
I lost my keys. Wow, you love a dramatic entrance.
Dad is home!
Hi, girl. How are you feeling?
I'm kind of nervous. I've never performed on like a real stage before. I really want this.
Okay.
Ultimately, what do you hope that fans from the original show and these newer generations who maybe doesn't have experience with the older versions will take away from the series?
My thing for the newest generation is that you don't need to watch the old ones to be able to appreciate our show. But you can still go back and get so much appreciation for what they created as well. And what I hope with the people who fell in love with the first two iterations is that they watch our show and still see themselves reflected. Then they also get a greater empathy for the people's lives who maybe don't look like them, to be able to take us in as well and fall in love with us, just like we fell in love with them.
As much progress as we've made in the last 20 years, we are still facing daily battles for our humanity and dignity and our right to live and thrive just like any other person. And I think that I'm really proud of the world that we've created here, because this isn't a show about a shooting. We don't show the shooting, we don't see the shooter. That's not the story we're telling. This is a show about a community rebuilding and how to rebuild and be more in a way that is bigger, better, safer, more inclusive than the spaces that existed before. And I think that's something really culturally that we are all thinking about right now.
You know, this show is Steven's vision and it's his baby, but I think we all, you know, didn't want to shy away from the thorny realities of being queer, but we also wanted to bring a levity and to it, because that is sort of how queer people deal with the trauma, is through humor, and you know what I mean? So it was very important that we strike that balance, and it's not like this doesn't become trauma porn at all, and that we just stay true to what being queer is and how queer people process the grief and all that stuff. So it was really exciting, because I feel like, you know, usually you have these characters in a show as sort of like, you know, as sort of a sidekick or whatever, but in this show they get to be fully realized, they get to be really complicated, they get to be messy. So that was really, really exciting to have the freedom to really just dive in and not feel restricted.
Thank you guys so much for your time today, and congratulations on the show. It was so good. I binged the entire thing in one night.
Oh, good.
Oh my gosh, whoa, thank you so much. In one day?
Yeah, it was really good. I couldn't stop.
Live.
I was saying, okay, I'm gonna stop now, and I couldn't. I had to find out what the text.
Okay.
We got you.
We got you.
I want to feel alive again.
Whoa. Are you gay?
Queer as Folk is streaming now on Peacock, so don't forget to check it out. Don't go anywhere as we catch up with JoJo Siwa backstage at So You Think You Can Dance. Stay right there. So You Think You Can Dance just hit a milestone with 300 episodes, and we recently caught up with JoJo Siwa to talk about judging this new crop of dancers and maybe show off some dance moves. Let's take a look.
She's a singer and dancer with a massive following whose influence is so strong she actually landed on Time magazine's 100 most influential people. It's JoJo Siwa, everybody!
How are you?
You look freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you. Feeling pain.
I heard, right? The shoes, right?
I mean, no, we're fine. We're fine. She says it, she tumbles over. No, again.
JoJo, I gotta ask you, every week that you guys eliminate these amazing contestants, does it ever get any easier at all?
No, it doesn't. Celebrating the ones who are remaining gets better, but saying goodbye, you know, every time I want to throw up, I want to cry, I want to scream, I want to fight, every time.
And then what do you look for every single week in these contestants? One thing.
Honestly, if I could say one thing is vulnerability. That's a big word. Vulnerability. I'm not saying it right, but you get the word that I'm trying to say. Performance-wise, technique-wise, emotion-wise, mental-wise, physical-wise, everything.
No, that makes complete sense. I feel like a lot of the contestants today were really vulnerable, right?
Yeah.
Was there anyone that really stood out for you today, like your absolute favorite?
You know, I'm a big cheerleader of Alexis and Keaton. I'm a big cheerleader of Bo and Anna. I think those 4 are amazing. But everyone's amazing. Raylan, Essence, Tiago, Waverly, Jordan. Oh gosh, I started this, now I have to finish it. I can't leave anybody out. Virginia and James, Jordan, Waverly.
They're all your babies.
They're all like my, I mean, they can't be my babies. Some of them are older than me, but they're like my little family, you know what I mean? And we get 0 interaction time, but it's really nice. It's really nice getting to watch them grow through this.
Okay, I know you gotta go, but what's your signature dance move? We saw you guys like rock your moves tonight. What
Okay,
is it? You gotta give us a little something.
My nervous tick is I just awkwardly will salsa. But my signature dance move from when I was little, it was this jump that I did on my hand, and both my legs split over my head, and my hand was on the floor. It was pretty sick.
Thank you so much for your time. You were so fun.
Thank you.
So You Think You Can Dance airs Wednesdays on Fox, so please check that out. Next in our studio, we have actress, singer, songwriter Gina Naomi Baez talk about her new music, her love for musicals, and her recent cancer scare. Let's check her out.
Hey guys, my name is Gina Naomi Baez. I am a singer, songwriter, and actor.
Dare I say, it's time to move on. This honeymoon heat is long gone. Fun at first, flying with the wind, no responsibilities.
Wow, oh my goodness. I guess I have to just kind of cheat with this question and answer with the singing and the acting kind of combined, because I fell in love with musical movies. That was like my first love, watching like The Wizard of Oz and Funny Girl, and I just wanted to be just like those people on the screen, singing and acting. I started definitely when I was younger. All I knew was like the movies and stuff with the music, with the singing, and then when I went to my first Broadway show, I was like just blown away, and I knew from then on like that's exactly what I wanted to do, or something around that realm. But then I just started falling in love with the entire business, so just anything in that realm. Musicals, singing, acting, like all of it.
You're nothing like any of these women.
I am no different from anybody else in here. I committed a crime. Being in here is no one's fault but my own.
When I saw on Netflix Orange is the New Black, and I told my agent, I said, I need to be on that show. Like, this has to happen before it ends, because I knew that there was only a couple more seasons left. And I was like, this has to happen, this has to happen. It's going to happen. And then I got an audition a couple months later, and it was for a singing inmate, so I had to be a singer. And so I was like, okay, this is perfect, singing and acting, perfect. And I went in and just really just gave it my all. And then I booked it, so I was like, oh my goodness. So that was like the first, I guess, dive into the film kind of area and kind of bringing my singing to that, which was really cool.
So this is actually something I haven't really spoken about in regard to my experience getting my thyroid out and everything, but the weight gain issues are definitely real, and it's really hard, especially in the beginning, but I don't want you to give up, because I definitely drove myself a little crazy, and got really just self-conscious about everything. I was very swollen after the surgery. My face was swollen. My body was swollen for a while.
When I was going on TikTok and everything, I was actually also going through thyroid cancer during the pandemic. So I had to get my thyroid removed. And when I was on all the social media, I didn't really see anyone that was like, I couldn't find anyone that was going through what I was going through, really. So I kind of felt like I needed to share this, and it was just a way for me to, it was cathartic for me to just show people like what I was really going through during this time. And I showed them like from the beginning to the surgery and then the whole recovery process. And it was just really helpful for me also, because I felt like people were supporting me everywhere, like from all over the world. And I could connect with them. And I don't think I would have done that, though, if it wasn't for the whole quarantine thing and just everyone's kind of putting themselves out there, like their authentic selves. And at that time, that was my authentic self. So I said, hey, why not? So I kind of documented my whole journey for people to follow.
Come with me to my first film premiere in LA. I flew into LA really early this morning from New York, and then I headed straight to the hotel to get my hair and makeup done. And then I got into my outfit and we headed out.
Okay, well, on Instagram and TikTok, you can find me at Gina Naomi Baez, and Twitter, Gina_Naomi_Baez. And also YouTube, just look up my name, you'll find my channel, and my website, GinaNaomiBaez.com. Hi, my name is Gina Naomi Baez, and you've just been buzzed.
Stay right there. We have Gareth Dunlop in our Artist Spotlight. We'll be back after these messages.
Don't need sun on my skin or salt on the breeze to calm the storms within or set my soul at ease.
Irish singer-songwriter Gareth Dunlop's music landed songs in hit shows like Nashville, Lucifer, This Is Us, Bones, and beyond. His songwriting credits include Tim McGraw, Faith Hill, T.I., and John Oates. We recently caught up with Gareth at the Regent Theater in Los Angeles, and we have him up next in our Artist Spotlight.
Hey there, this is Gareth Dunlop. Don't need sun on my skin or salt on the breeze to calm the storms within or set my soul at ease. You know, getting into music, I kind of surprised myself when I got into it. It wasn't something that I was always massively kind of surrounded with as a kid growing up. And it was one day, I was flicking through a catalogue magazine, and there was a picture of a Stratocaster type guitar, and it was like this lightning bolt. It was like, I have to have this. So I was around 13 or 14, and I just pestered my folks to buy this guitar for me. And I think they probably thought it was going to be, you know, like the skateboard from the year before, a little fad. But no, they finally buckled, and they bought this guitar, and I remember plugging it in and turning it up as loud as I could go, and you know, and I just felt this, I don't know, weird sense of like authority, like I was in control of something bigger than me, and it quickly became this weird kind of addiction. I wanted to surround myself with as much music as possible and seek out kind of like-minded fools and start bands and all that kind of good stuff. And then I left high school and went straight to music college, and I kind of found my tribe, you know, found my people, and things kind of, you know, progressed from there. I've been very lucky. I've had a lot of great opportunities that have come my way. Being able to write for TV shows and movies and have the opportunity to write for other artists. It's a roller coaster, and sometimes there are moments where you're kind of going, okay, did I pick the right career path here? And then all of a sudden, you know, something wonderful happens. There's a lovely catalyst. There's somebody says something. You play a great show. You have a great opportunity, and you get that high, that moment that makes you want to keep going, because you're constantly searching for those moments of, I don't know if validation is the right word, but there's certainly things that spur you on. the entire record I thought I had finished a couple of different times, a couple of different ways. So before the lockdowns and the pandemic, I had a bit of a tour booked, I had some promo booked, and I had the record mastered, and I think much like a lot of musicians and bands and songwriters, once the world kind of shut down and gigging and touring went away, I kind of just shelved the project and forgot about it for a little while and just thought, okay, I'm going to be home for, what looks to be a long time here, so let's embrace that and get into that, tempo of living. And I did some writing, not a bunch, but I did some writing through the pandemic. And having that time away from the project to be able to go back after it's kind of been marinating for a while. If a couple of the songs that I thought would stand up in the cold light of day kind of faded to the background, and some of the new songs that I've been kind of messing with, found a home on the record. It's a strange thing to say, but I think that the time away from the project was a good thing.
I like it quiet in my soul, so I can hear the earth turn below me. I am an enigma to myself and simple to others. I think too much and say too little. I pour over and over words before they leave my head.
So the oldest song, the first song that I wrote, and I didn't even realize I was writing for a record, it was the title track, Animal. And that was one of those weird, it doesn't happen very often. A lot of the time I like to labour over a song and spend a lot of time with it. But Animal kind of flew out. I remember looking at it and going, okay, this is just kind of a weird stream of unconsciousness. Let's work on it later and try to get it all to rhyme and think about the structure and think about getting it into, rounding off the edges. And I messed with that for a minute, but it just felt better not doing any of that and just kind of letting it be this rambling kind of monologue. And after it was finished, I thought, I wonder if there's anything else like that, in me. I wonder, can I go back to that pond and see what else is there? Maybe there's, the beginnings of an EP, or maybe it's a couple of singles, or because it felt very different to anything that I'd done before. And the more that I kind of messed around with that and messed around with some of those kind of sounds and textures, it started to feel like it was going to be a longer project than just an EP. And the album started to feel like it was coming together. The last song that was written for the record was Look Back Smiling. And that was a song that I wrote it for my son, Wilson. And he, throughout the pandemic, he, like a lot of kids, he missed out on so much school, and it was his first year of school. So a lot of very, kind of important moments in his life. And when he finally went back to school, I think he was just shell shocked by the whole kind of experience of being around kids again and being like, okay, what the hell is this? And he kind of retreated into himself a little bit and went into his shell. And yeah, it was a hard thing to it was a difficult thing to watch. And I wanted to put down something on paper that would kind of, we could maybe look back on one day and it would spur him on, that kind of, it's that old sort of cliche of grab life by the horns and, no regrets and just kind of go for it. Be a kid, be silly, be fun. So when that was written, again, before that song got written, I thought the record was done. And then that got written, and I was like, right, okay, I've got to find a spot for that. It has to go on. I mean, the album's out in its entirety, but that side of it, I'm blessed with not having to think about too much, like how stuff actually gets put out there and how it's kind of released into the world, because that's a whole different ball of wax. But I think the plan is there's going to be some focus tracks kind of from the record moving forward to, yeah. So I think, I've got some shows back at home around the UK and Ireland, and then that's going to be late August, early September. After that, there were a bunch of songs that didn't make the record for many different reasons. So there's a lot of songs sitting there and some kind of half-baked ideas, and I think maybe once I get into the autumn, into the winter, I might find a room, barricade myself in, and see if there's another project sitting there. I've had a blast, out here on this tour. I mean, I'm up on stage on my own, playing piano, playing acoustic guitar. So bringing the songs kind of back to how they were written, how they were kind of put together in the first place before the synths and the drums and the bass and the production has been. It's been a lot of fun. But I've done a month of that now. I'm looking forward to getting home and getting the band out and seeing how the songs stand up. Yeah, so I'm up there on the usual places. Up on Facebook, up on Instagram, Twitter. I believe they're all just / Gareth Dunlop, and then I'm on a website there as well, which is garethdunlop.com. Hey, my name is Gareth Dunlop, and you've just been buzzed.
That's all we have. Special thanks to Gareth Dunlop, The Regent, JoJo Siwa, So You Think You Can Dance, Fox, Gina Naomi Baez, Madison Brodsky, and the cast of Queer as Folk on Peacock. Don't forget to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and double tap us on Instagram, all at @buzz_access. I'm Trey Rich. Love and light to you all.
It's sun on my skin, or salt on the breeze, to calm the storms within, or set my soul at ease. 'Cause I found heaven in your eyes, my kind of paradise, my kind of paradise. Don't leave it wide open.
So paper thin, no stability. Don't play and pretend. This is the end. It's nothing more than liquor love. Stop the calls and the texts, just give it up. Nothing more than liquor love. Liquor love.
For more stories and extended clips, go to thebuzzallaccess.com. I'm Trey Rich, and you've just been buzzed.